Lucky you.
36 best
Tuned
holes in
into
golf.
Alternate Shots podcast,
Barney's Army.
where we talk about golf,
Sandy.
poker,
James Bond.
horse racing,
Double.
classic movies.
Zenyatta.
We have no script,
Down the stretch they
and we are
come.
glad you joined us.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
For Billy Regan, we are jacked up today because we are with aspiring PGA star James Nicklaus from Scarsdale, New York, members at Wingfoot Golf Club, Westchester Country Club, maybe a few others. Billy, what do you think of our day today?
An early start for an early riser, and hopefully the beginning of the early career of a star in the making.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You
Did
told
we say James Nicklaus yet?
James Bond, James Nicklaus.
James Nicklaus.
Off our head. We love classic movies. What's your favorite James Bond movie?
I really like Casino Royale. I'm a big James Bond fan. I loved watching them in the theaters when they first came out. So I do appreciate the Casino Royale movie.
See how we do this? Alternate shots. We have no script. Now we're going to ask you the next question, Billy. Who's your favorite character or villain?
I don't know if I have a favorite villain, honestly. I mean, my favorite character is James. I mean, growing up with the name James, you always want to be James Bond.
So I think we're looking at your swing here, James. I've seen it over the years. I've been privileged to see you play other sports like football. Have been told that your work ethic is second to none. Looks like you're in the fairway there, but it could also be looks like you're on the range. What's your work ethic like?
Yeah, I'm definitely putting in the hours, that's for sure. But growing up, I wasn't just a golfer. I played a lot of other sports, and I think that helped me in different ways, but it also, kept me behind the other golfers who just play 24/7, and whether they grew up in the South or they went to big schools like Stanford, Texas, and Florida. I felt like when I did commit to golf, I was a little bit behind. So I just scheduled my days to maximize my ability to get better and to catch up to these other kids. So I'll wake up around 6 o'clock, do a 30-minute stretch session, and that's either followed by a workout or on a day that I'm not working out, I'll go in the ice bath, get my body ready to go for the day to come, and then I'll get to the course around 7:30. And then normally I'll practice, say, 4 hours of short game, 3 hours of swing work, and then I'll go out and play. So in total, it's about a 10-hour day of on-course practice, and that's from, 8 o'clock to 6 p.m. would be a pretty solid day. And then I'll come home, do a little cool down stretch, eat, and get to sleep. And I've been that's on a really good week for me. So this week I'm prepping for Q school, and there's no distractions, right? I'm in bed by 8:30 and I'm up by 6, and I kind of just keep that door revolving, and every day is a new day, but just trying to get that a little bit better every day.
More and more people are using that ice bath after a hard Florida. I don't have a heater. I said, these kids pay good money for ice baths. They could just jump in my pool.
Florida gets a little warm. That water is probably in its 70s, maybe even the 80s. My ice bath's at a nice 36 degrees, so it's a little different.
Wow.
How long do you sit in there at 36 degrees?
36, I do 3.5 minutes, and then when it gets in the 40s, I do 7 minutes.
Wow.
Victor Hovland, they're sitting down having a slice of pizza, and they got these things on their legs. What are they? Compression?
Yeah, the Normatec boots. I have them right over there. I don't wear them every day, but when I'm playing a tournament, I wear them every single day because you're walking a lot. But when I'm practicing, I'm usually just in a car flying around and not putting too much stress on my legs. But that's a huge piece for recovery for sure during tournaments.
Your dad have the patent on those boots?
Not on those ones, unfortunately. I think he wishes.
Well, you come from an interesting lineage. While I brought that up, your grandfather was the famous surgeon that worked on the guy that many people think made the NFL, Joe Namath.
Yep. I grew up, named after him, Dr. James Nicklaus, and he actually taught me how to play golf too. He was a lefty, but he would always just give me his clubs and be like, "Go swing around in the backyard." And I would hit the house a few times, and my grandma would always come out yelling, but he would be like, "Keep going, you got this." So I think I got a little bit of that golf love from him. And yeah, my dad followed in his footsteps, was a team doctor for the Jets and so on. But growing up, I think the one other thing than being a doctor my dad would want me to be is a pro golfer. So I think it's worked out so far.
For example, Eric Cole, who took a interesting route to being a now PGA Tour rookie. It was so important to him, the people that are around him. Because golf, there's a lot of negativity.
Yeah, there's a lot of negativity in golf. It's one of the few sports that you're losing way more often than you're winning. In a football game, right? You say you go 500 in the season, you're going to win every other game. Hockey season, right? You're playing 85 games, you're going to win a lot of games. Baseball, even if you're the worst team in the MLB, you're going to win a lot of games. In golf, wins come far and few between. So it's tough to keep that positive mindset, especially if you have people around you that are going to keep pushing you down and keep telling you no good. So surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded, that are working hard, that support your dreams, want to pursue them or make you want to pursue them is really important. I've been really lucky to have a family that has supported me throughout my entire life, whether it was hockey in high school or football in college and now golf. My family's always there and the first ones to text me and congratulate me, even if I didn't, win, right? They're there to support me and just, be a really good support system and my cheerleading squad. So I owe a lot of that to them.
How
Yeah.
many brothers and sisters?
We have four younger siblings, two sisters, two brothers, and they're all remarkable in their own rights in sport. My sister's won 6 national championships, 4 in field hockey, 2 in lacrosse. My other sister, Michaela, she's a national final and then a national semifinals in field hockey. She was a captain of her team. My brother Steven was on the football and golf team, and my brother Brian is playing the USHL out in Iowa right now. He's committed to Michigan to play hockey. So that
Like the Porters.
yeah, we grew up playing a lot of sports and playing against each other, so it was a fun little childhood for sure. But I definitely grew up with amazing teachers in the Met section, right? So Barry Triano was my first ever teacher at Westchester Country Club, and I remember seeing him when I was 10, 11 years old, and the real, what I was taught with him was just swing hard and just rip it, right? And just learn to get some speed. And then I went to Gary Weir, and I've been with Gary since I was 13 years old, and Gary really refined my swing and made it what it is today. And then kind of recently switched to John and Jim McLean. John has been my short game guru, and Jim has been really helping me my long game. Again, it's just refining it, getting to swing 1% better. So I do have an understanding of my swing and what I tend to fall back on when I go into flaws or ruts. I know why it's happening. But again, having another set of eyes on you practicing just makes it more efficient. So I love having someone there to help me.
I remember Jim McLean once saying that the pros use videotape way back when they were using videotape, so we don't stay lost for long. So I guess Jim McLean watching your swing can keep you from maybe correcting the wrong way when, because it's easy to get going the wrong way when you think something's off.
Sometimes nothing's off, right? It's just a bad day. You woke up and it's a weird day. That's the funny thing about golf is that you have those days that you just wake up and it's just different. So
Where's your tournament today?
I played yesterday in the minor league, yesterday was the event. That's why we moved it to today. I played a minor league event at Fountains West Country Club. Finished
How did
fifth.
that go?
Finished fifth, shot 3 under. Played okay, lost by 2. So need to find 2 shots out there. Made 1 bogey. Yeah, well, this is interesting. Take a guess at what golf course this is. I've played it a lot, and it's in the Northeast. This is Yale Golf Club.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so
Yeah.
they let it go during COVID, and it's been in tough shape. And thankfully, they're redoing it. But I was home, and I went up. We did a little alumni weekend. This is a couple months ago, so I had a good time with the boys. But as you can see, the course isn't always in the best shape. But hopefully, that'll change when Gil Hans comes in and redoes it.
You
Well,
have to be in pretty good shape to walk up that 10th hole, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there's a lot of holes like that.
tell us a little bit before we roll this, what's going on with your swing here?
Yeah, this is a couple months ago. I've never really had to think about setup. I feel like I get into good posture naturally. If I were to just drop my hands down, they'd be tops of my kneecaps. So that's, as you can see, if I would just let my hands go down, that's probably where they are. Again, I'm setting up down the left side of the fairway, trying to hit a pretty straight ball. And I don't have any conscious swing starters or
I'm doing the Matt Wolf Kickstarter.
yeah, I don't have any conscious. I just kind of set it, go through my routine, my process, take it back and swing. Right now, I'm focusing on just tucking my sleeve under my left arm for connection and keeping that sleeve tucked throughout my whole swing. So on a face-on view, you'd see that better. But on here, you'll see I'm trying to keep my right arm, my right elbow down. I used to get it really, really high. And then my swing would become timing based at the bottom, just throwing my hands at it. But now that it's lower, I can just kind of rotate and keep that place a little bit more stable going through impact.
So let's
Yep.
roll this and let's see what you got to see.
Oh, bro. Oh, he just just needed to be on camera.
Looked like you hit a high, tiny fade there, maybe, right?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty straight ball. It was actually a good one. I went on to, we were playing a big match, so we went on to make a little birdie, and I think we closed them out in the next hole.
When you practice, do you start with the sand wedge or the lob wedge and go through, or do you have a different way of doing it?
No, yeah, I start my lob wedge and I hit all my wedge numbers. I have a course that I try to perfect. So that's 30, 40, 50, 60, 75, 85, 95, 105, 112, 118, 125, 132, and 142. So I'll hit all those numbers with my lob wedge through to my pitching wedge. And then after that, on odd days, so today's the 17th, I'll go 9 iron, 7 iron, 5 iron, 3 iron. And on even days, so tomorrow I'll go 8 iron, 6 iron, 4 iron, 2 iron, and I do that just to make sure I wear my clubs the right way. I don't always use my 7 iron, and that has a huge wear pattern in the middle, and my 6 iron doesn't.
Plug for
2 iron.
2 iron.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Where are you seeing that, Billy? You've seen that because it's in the basement in your garage.
Yeah. But there's a lot of I wasn't there the day, but I've heard you hit a 2 iron onto 4 East
Yeah, that
to
was
a couple of feet.
it wasn't a couple of feet actually. It was hanging over the lip. I went right up there, picked it up, and we went on to the next hole. It was a pretty cool way to win. Yeah, so we were all the way back in the back tees, and
It's 580 that hole from back there.
yeah. So I'll hit it in the right rough. That way I can get a little closer angle in. But I knew with a 2 iron, if I had a bad lie, I couldn't get it over the water. So I went down the left center of the fairway, and it trickled just into the rough. But I had a really good jumper lie. I had 286, if I remember correctly, to the pin. And I was like, okay, this is normally a standard 3-wood, but it's going to jump really hard. So let me hit a 2 iron and try to rip it. And I hit it and I liked it. And you can't see the green from there. So I heard a couple claps in the distance. And I think that might have been my mom or dad just hooting and hollering. But we slowly walked up there, and then I started, noticing the ball, and it looked like it was almost in. We walked up there, and my partners from about 120 yards out, they said, "That's good. Let's go to the next." And it was like that far from going in, and we made it, tapped it, picked it up for eagle, and went on to the next. Yeah, I think the technology's obviously made it a little bit easier. In addition, I think we're able to train a little bit better to get faster, stronger, more efficient. So
What are your numbers?
I'll swing it around 124. I've gotten it up to 130 if I really want to go after and do some speed training. But again, I'm working on just getting it straighter. So I'm not really worried about speed right now. 124, 182 ball speed is what I kind of cruised at.
What are you averaging with your driver?
I carry it right around 305. And then depending on the conditions, right, it either goes 305 or it can roll out to a good 330 number.
How old were you when you recognized how good you were at this sport?
I wasn't ever a top guy. I was a really good hockey player and football player growing up. And I went to school. I was recruited for hockey, football, and golf. And my sophomore year of college is when I quit football. And then I had so much time on my hands, and I was like, let's go play golf all day, every day. And then my junior year, I was good, but then my senior year, I led the nation in scoring average in the fall season. So that was kind of when I looked at the names, and number 2 was Colin Morikawa, number 3 was Victor Hovland, and then number 5 was Matthew Wolff. And I was like, these guys are all studs, and I'm, somehow got a better scoring average. This is really cool. And again, we were playing different courses and different conditions and whatnot, but the courses we play are pretty tough. So I was pretty proud of that fact. And that was when I first noticed, okay, maybe I can do something with this after school.
What kind of clubs do you play?
I've got a whole mixed match. So I've got Vokey wedges. I've got Wilson Staff irons. I have a Titleist 2 iron, a Callaway hybrid that I interchange, a Titleist 3-wood, Titleist driver, and TaylorMade putter. So a bunch of different brands.
Who would you compare your game to if you went to the Zoho Championship this week and went down the driving range?
I don't know. I have never really compared myself to somebody else. I feel like my game is very unique. I'm just trying to get better. I'm a very good putter. When I drive it really well, I play really well. But I think everybody's got their own little unique flair. Like Eric Cole, like you said, he hits these like tight draws every single time. I don't do that. I like hitting a little bit of a fade, right? Like I would say Justin Thomas because I've got that high elbow, but he likes shaping the ball a lot, left to right, right to left. I don't like doing that anymore. I like hitting kind of one shot shape. So I'd like to be more like a different aspects of everybody's game. There's not one guy that I would just want to be like, I want to be like him. It's in terms of putting, I love the way Ricky Fowler putts, right? He's authority with all his putts, and none of his putts look like they're wimpy. They're all going in the back of the center of the cup with good firm pace. Scottie Scheffler walks around with that attitude. I want his attitude. He's looks like he's carefree. He doesn't really care if he wins or loses. Victor Hovland's driving, right? I mean, if you could drive it like Victor Hovland, it's going to be tough to lose. And, even with his iron play too, and obviously Colin Morikawa, he hits that little baby fade every single time, which I'm trying to implement into my game. So there's a lot of different aspects of everybody's game that I'd love to just implement into mine.
How's your temperament out there?
I like to think I have a pretty good temperament. I've worked with a mental coach in the past, Brian Kane, and I worked with him when I was at Yale for football. He was our mental coach. And then I worked with him a little bit last year during the golf season. And it all comes back to just sticking to the process and not letting the outcome affect your moods, emotions, or ability to go perform the next shot, right? If you're focused just on your process, then whatever happens, happens. And that's kind of the big thing that I focus on the golf course is controlling the controllables. And that's my mantra. Whenever I'm walking down the fairway, I just say control the controllables, because if you hit an 8-foot putt, right, and you hit it right edge, and for some reason it doesn't go in, but you did everything in your power to hit it exactly where you wanted to, you read it right, and it just didn't go in, you're hitting an imperfect ball on an imperfect surface, and understanding that sometimes it might just wiggle the wrong way is a part of the game. Or getting the right bounce in the fairway, right? Say you hit it the right side of the fairway and it takes a bounce to the right into the right rough, and now you can't go for the green in two. Again, a lot of these things in golf are out of your control, and that's something that I've grown to realize over the past few years.
What's going through your mind now? You just hit a shot, picked up the tee, now you're walking down with your caddy. What's in your mind? What are you thinking about? What are you talking about?
For a brief second, I thought about the next shot. Okay, what do I have? What's coming up? And then we're just talking about whatever. What are you getting for dinner tonight? You see that Rangers game last night? How about them Jets? I don't really like talking about the shot in between the shots. You can just like drive yourself crazy. So I like having a caddy who I can just go out and have fun with and just enjoy the time there. And I mean, I've got the best job in the world. I'm so fortunate to be able to do this for a living, and I recognize that. And that's something that I'm trying to embrace and not get too serious when I'm out there.
You must have enjoyed the Jet game the other night, huh?
Oh yeah, didn't look like a W until the end, but we'll take it. When I was in college and high school, I would, be woe is me. Of course I'm gonna divot. This is the worst day ever, and just make excuses and complain. Now it's just a part of the game. I just get up there. I analyze my lies. If it was in the fairway or the rough or the bunker, I see what I need to do. I focus on what I'm trying to do, and then I go hit the shot. It's not me complaining about it being in a divot. It's not going to make it any better for me. So why would I complain, right? So that's what I'm trying to get more and more. Well, that's what I'm trying to do more and more and get better at. It's just analyzing the situation, going through the process, sticking to the process, and executing the shot.
I might be wrong, but it sounds like your attitude and temperament are one of your biggest strengths in the game of golf.
Yeah, I agree. And that's something that I'm continuing to work on. And I think that's really important. As a kid, you're a little bit more immature, and you just, you do things like you live and die by every shot. You think that all the bounces are going the wrong way and everybody's out to get you. And then you realize when you get older that you don't actually complain about the good bounces, and they happen a lot. And you start recognizing, when you look at it, like, oh, wow, that was actually a good bounce. This weekend I was playing in France last week for DP World Tour Q School Stage 1, and I hit one that was going straight into the woods, hit a tree, went in the fairway, made a birdie. And I was like, as a kid, I'd probably be like, oh, that should have happened. Thank God. It's like, no, that was a really good break. I just gained 3 shots there. Thank you, tree. But
yeah.
Tell us about a funny story or something that was unique or extraordinary that's happened to you over the last couple of years.
I mean, I don't know if they're funny, but I've had quite a few stories that you may or may not have seen. But when I guess this is 3 years ago now, or 2 years ago now, I was 7th alternate, and I was sitting in my home in New York watching the Rangers game with my family. And this was for the Kansas City event. Sitting in the room watching the game, and I get a call from the tour, and I'm like, okay, what is this? They go, hey, James, are you planning on traveling to Kansas City this week? And I go, what are you talking about? I'm 7th alternate. They go, yeah, you're 7th alternate, but we just called the first 6 alternates and none of them want to come. If you came, you'd be first alternate on site. Do you want to come? And I said, of course. Immediately looked at my flights. It was 9 p.m. and no flights out of Newark or JFK or LaGuardia. There's no flights going to Kansas City that night. There was one in the morning that would get me there around 10 o'clock. But that would make me miss the first half of the morning wave. And if somebody withdrew in the morning, I would not be eligible because I would not be there. So I would have to basically fly back home. Long story short, my flight was delayed. I ran off the plane. I got a call that I had a spot because Eric Cole actually had withdrawn, and get there a minute and a half for my tee time, tee it up, and I go play with the head pros clubs because I had to leave my clubs at the carousel because I had no time to wait for them. So that was one funny story. And then fast forward 2 years, this year, I finished the season. I Monday qualified twice, and they got a sponsor. I went into Matita played well Matita to put me first alternate for the Korn Ferry Tour playoffs. So I show up at the playoffs. I'm first alternate. I'm hanging out on the range, whatever. And then the rules official comes over and goes, "Hey, we have a situation. Get in the cart." And I go, "Okay, what's going on?" I get my caddy. I'm like, "Hey, let's get in the cart. We might have a chance here." And we get to the tee, and they start counting down because Curtis Luck was late to the tee. We didn't know where he was, and they said 10, 9, 8. He gets there 2 seconds after 0, so he was disqualified. And then I got the chance to tee it up and play that week, and I finished 35th or 30th, which gave me another chance. I was first alternate then in the next playoff event, so I almost got into the next playoff event again. But again, it's been a constant battle of being alternates, and I always joke around and tell my agent that I'm the America's best first alternate. So if anyone needs a first alternate, I'll be there.
So just thought of an idea. You're down here in Florida. If and when it's appropriate or time allows, let's get you and Eric over here at DeQuesta, get a little tape on. He said he'd do another episode with us.
Yeah, that'd be great. I played with Eric in Bermuda actually, and that was we were talking. That was his, I think, 6th start on the PGA Tour, and I was talking to him, and I was like, "How's it going so far?" He goes, "Not so good. I've missed every cut so far, not by a lot, but just margin." And he started playing really well in the last 9 of that tournament. Ended up missing the cut by 1 again, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." But that very next week was Honda, and he went and finished the second. And I was like, okay, he's ready to go. His game looked great, and now he finished second last week, or yes, third last week. So I think he's had a pretty solid start to his career, and he's just going to get better and better from here on out. And a win's coming soon, so I'd love to connect with Eric again. He's a great kid and somebody I look up to for sure.
What did you say, Billy? We did this before he went on his 3 tour. So 3 events. So he was in the Shriners, and before that he was in Sanderson Farms. Now he's going to Zovo. And Billy said that week before, he said, "Okay, when you come back after you win an event." So we are huge, great karma spreaders, right, Billy?
Absolutely. You come on here, you'll win.
It's been so great, James, to know about your journey and your attitude, your ethic. You have all the components that we've learned from other golfers. To the secret, it's hard work.
Yeah, you got to put in the time. There's no secret to it. You got to find it in the dirt. Got to work hard and be smart.
Knock them dead in Q school.
Thank
Maybe
you.
in a few months we'll have you back on and hear from your results.
I appreciate it. I love that.
Thanks for joining us
Casper,
today.
Billy
We
Harmon,
really appreciate your
Double
feedback.
Indemnity,
And please
Markey,
subscribe to the
Two
show
Outer,
and hit the
Claude
bell
Harmon,
icon so you get notified
Movie
of
Classics,
new episodes.
Mark Gable,
Hit them
Odd
hard
Job,
and hit them off.
Best 36 Holes.